From the moment Clara was born, she was adored. A golden child in every sense of the word, her blue eyes sparkled with mischief, and her laughter could light up a room. As the older sister, Clara was destined for greatness, or so their parents believed. Emma, her younger sister, arrived 3 years later, but from the start, it was clear she was never going to shine as brightly in their parents' eyes. Growing up, Emma learned quickly where she stood. Clara had all the best toys, clothes, and, more importantly, all the praise. Whether it was an achievement at school, or simply doing something cute, Clara was their parents' pride and joy. "Look at our Clara, she got another in math," their father would exclaim, beaming with pride. "Isn't she wonderful?" Emma, standing nearby, would nod quietly. It didn't matter that she'd gotten an A2. Somehow, it was always Clara who took center stage. She became invisible in her own home, her achievements shadowed by the brilliance of her sister. By the time they were both teenagers, the unspoken divide between them was an accepted reality. Clara became the princess of the family, beautiful, popular, and adored. Emma was the servant, the one tasked with chores, while Clara lounged on the couch, flipping through magazines or scrolling through her phone. "Emma, can you get Clara a snack?" their mother would ask. Emma would feel the familiar sting in her chest, but obey, as always. There was no arguing with her parents. If Clara wanted something, Emma was expected to provide it. As Clara thrived in high school, Emma's responsibilities at home grew. It became her job to make sure Clara had everything she needed: clean, laundry, homework done, even covering for her when Clara stayed out late with friends. "Emma, make sure Clara's homework is finished. You know how important her grades are to her future," her mother would say. "What about my grades?" Emma would ask quietly, but the question was always brushed aside. "You're smart, Emma. You don't need as much help as Clara does." The truth was, Clara didn't need help either. She was capable, but why put in effort when Emma was there to handle everything? The burden became heavier each day. Clara never seemed to appreciate Emma's efforts, and their parents never acknowledged the sacrifices Emma made. One evening, after Emma had spent hours helping Clara with a project she was perfectly capable of doing herself, she confronted her parents. "Why does Clara get to sit around all the time while I do everything for her? It's not fair," Emma said, her voice trembling with frustration. Her mother barely looked up from her book. "Clara has a lot of pressure on her. She's got a bright future ahead, and you need to support her." Her father chimed in. "Besides, you're the younger sister, Emma. It's your job to help out." "But what about my future?" Emma demanded, her eyes filling with tears. "Why doesn't anyone care about what I want to do?" Her parents exchanged glances, their expressions indifferent. "Clara's future is more demanding right now," her father finally said, as if that was the only explanation needed. Emma stormed out, feeling more alone than ever. She had dreams, dreams of going to university, traveling the world, maybe becoming a writer. But no one seemed to notice or care. Clara was oblivious to Emma's growing resentment. She breezed through life, effortlessly charming everyone she met, while Emma remained in the background, supporting her every step of the way. "Emma, can you take my shift at the cafe this weekend?" Clara asked one day. "I'm going to a party, and it's really important." "I had plans this weekend too," Emma replied, though she didn't really. Her plans were always second to Clara's, and Clara knew it. "Come on, Em, you don't want to ruin my night, do you? I promise I'll cover for you next time." But there never was a next time. Emma took the shift, as always. Clara never understood why Emma seemed so bitter lately. To her, life was just as it should be. She was the one with the bright future. After all, the one who was going places. Of course, Emma was there to support her. That's what sisters were for, wasn't it? The final straw came when Clara was accepted into a prestigious university overseas. Their parents threw a massive celebration in her honor, inviting family and friends to toast Clara's success. Emma, as always, was tasked with organizing the event, cooking, decorating, making sure everything ran smoothly. As the night wore on, Emma found herself in the kitchen, washing dishes while Clara basked in the praise of their parents. Guests were so proud of Clara, she overheard her mother say, "She's going to do great things." "And Emma?" someone asked. Her mother hesitated. "Oh, well, Emma will figure things out, I'm sure. She's a good girl." Good girl, that's all. Emma was a background character in Clara's story. Something inside Emma snapped that night. She couldn't continue like this, constantly serving her sister and living in her shadow. She deserved better. She stormed out of the kitchen, interrupting Clara's glowing moment of glory. "I'm done," Emma said, her voice loud and clear, silencing the room. Everyone turned to look at her, surprised by her outburst. "What are you talking about, Emma?" her father asked, his tone sharp with disapproval. "I'm done being Clara's servant. I'm done being ignored. I have dreams too, but none of you care. You've spent my entire life making sure Clara gets everything, and I get nothing." Clara looked shocked, and for the first time, she saw the pain in Emma's eyes. "Emma, we've always appreciated you." "No, you haven't," Emma interrupted her mother. "You've only ever cared about Clara. Well, not doing it anymore. You can handle things without me." With that, Emma left the house, leaving behind the life that had suffocated her for so long. It wasn't easy at first. Walking away from her family, from the only life she'd ever known, was terrifying. But it was also liberating. Emma moved out, found a job, and slowly started rebuilding her life. She applied to university on her own, without her parents' support or input. For the first time, Emma felt free. Free to pursue her own dreams, free to live without the constant pressure of serving Clara. She realized that her worth wasn't tied to how much she did for others, but to who she was and what she wanted to achieve. Clara reached out a few times, apologizing for taking Emma for granted, but Emma needed space. She needed time to discover herself without being pulled back into the old dynamic. Months passed, and while it was painful, Emma grew stronger. She built new friendships, started writing again, and found joy in the little things that had once been overshadowed by Clara's presence. Eventually, Emma returned home for a visit. Things had changed. Her parents were more reserved around her, unsure of how to interact with the daughter who had finally stood up for herself. Clara, too, was different, quieter, less self-assured. She had realized too late the damage their family's favoritism had caused. "I'm sorry, Emma," Clara said one afternoon while they sat together in the garden. "I didn't realize how much I was hurting you." "You didn't want to realize it," Emma replied softly. "But I'm glad you do now." They talked for hours, for the first time as equals. The golden child and the forgotten one, finally seeing each other for who they really were. Emma didn't need their approval anymore. She had found something far more important: her own path, her own strength, and her own voice. This story focuses on Emma's journey of breaking free from the unfair expectations placed on her by her parents, and finding her own sense of self-worth. It illustrates the emotional complexity of favoritism within families, and the consequences it can have on siblings' relationships. Please leave a like and comment to help her overcome this difficulty.